rank. We've got Phillipou still on the board. He was one that was speculated potentially going to the Bombers at pick 4, so has drifted down.
With pick 10, St Kilda select Mattaes Phillipou from Woodville West Torrens and the Plimpton High Old Scholars Camden Football Club.
Presenting the jump for St Kilda is club captain Jack Steele.
So Jack Steele, a superstar for the Saints, gives the jumper over to someone that the St Kilda faithful hope can become a superstar, very highly rated, and at pick number 10 may be seen as a bit of a steal.
Potentially. I mean, for me, he could almost have the most upside of any of the top 10 that have been drafted so far. He was 3 days off being eligible to play in the under-18 competition next year, shifter, so he's still quite young, still quite raw, but some of his attributes are enormous, aren't they? I mean, that 109...
Going to break the internet. Well, hopefully, Josh. Matthias, how you going?
Yeah, good, Scoops. What's going on?
Not much. Glad to have you back on, mate, and welcome to the Saints.
Nah, thanks. Yeah, you see, I've got it on, man. Repping the colours. They look awesome.
It does, absolutely. So how was the night, obviously, being drafted by the Saints at pick 10? Obviously, when we spoke last time, the Saints had some interest along with a few other clubs, but how was the day overall for you?
Yeah, it was so surreal. Still can't really believe it. I had to reply to, a heap of messages. All my new teammates have reached out and shown a lot of support. So, yeah, it's crazy. It's so absurd. Meeting the coach Ross as well and just listening to him. To feel the excitement around the club as well when I got there yesterday was, it was unbelievable.
Absolutely, it was. It was great to see. So obviously, mentioned there about speaking for Ross. Did you speak to Ross in the build-up to the draft when you met with the Saints?
No, I didn't. James Gallagher came over once before the draft, and it was Saints were very enjoyable throughout the year. But no, I hadn't spoken to Ross until after. So yeah, it was awesome.
So it would have been nice to meet Ross for the first time in that video that came out in the with the room of Jared Ruffhead and a few other guys in there as well.
Yeah, that was the raw first meet. Yeah, I walked in and Ross was facing the team. I think he was, getting ready to go to the cafe because we went out to a pub, I think, after that. And I didn't realise it was him until he turned around. He was, it was crazy.
So obviously, when did you feel like St Kilda was looking likely to get you? Was it pretty much at the moment it happened, or did you have a little bit of an inkling closer to the draft that there could be a good chance as well to happen?
Yeah, it's a good question. I was really in the dark with it. I definitely wouldn't have had it playing out the way it did. But I'm certainly not complaining. I think it's worked out for the best. I think after Essendon's pick, I was very confident that, it would be the Saints, looking at Cow's fandom guide and draft, things like that. But, I'm just stoked to be at the Saints, really. Yeah.
So day one, you walked into the Saints, and then you just walked into three legends of the footy club: Lenny Hayes, Robert Harvey, and Brendan Goddard. What was that like? Also, we've seen some of the footage. How was that like? Pretty nerve-wracking, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was. That's probably one of the first moments all year where I didn't know what to say. I really didn't know what to say. Like, I probably underdid, talking to Goddard a bit because that mark he took against Collingwood was, so many moments in that game from the both of them. But Harvey as well, I just kind of froze, really, when I started speaking to Lenny. My mind stopped working. But, it was crazy to be in their presence, yeah.
Exactly. So the jumper number, there's some numbers available. There's number 2, number 10, 18, 21. There's plenty of other numbers. What number are you eyeing off? And have they given you the option to pick yourself?
Yeah, they have. I messaged Tony Brown this morning, asking if he could pick one of them. I wanted to get in quick, and I was doing a bit of research on the club and its history. This morning, I had a diehard fan reach out and send me a lot on the club, and it was a really good read. And I reached out, and he said he'll get onto it for me. So yeah.
Now, one number that would be coincidental being your draft number, pick 10, number 10 being available, would that be a possibility? But as you know, we've done some research on that number 10. There's a few guys in the past that had some injury curse. Dan Hanbury obviously being one, Nathan Freeman, Dan Markworth. Is that a number you're eyeing off, or you're looking elsewhere?
Nah, it's a different number. Not number 10. I think number 10, pick 10, leave that, make it unique. But number two is the number that I'm hoping to get if all pans out well.
That'd be good. Pumped to have your SA teammate Isaac Keeler join the club.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I think the Saints, James Van Ness, Ollie Houghton and Keels, just those three alone.
Yeah.
Gotten away with. I said it on SEN this morning. Got away with highway robbery. If you look across the board, those three guys just athletes, all athletes. So you can tell. I'm stoked with the guys that the other guys that I'm going to go to the Saints with. Exactly.
Ollie and Isaac went a lot later than it was expected, and with James as well. So it's great, as you said, highway robbery indeed. Now a good mate of yours that didn't join St Kilda was Phoenix Foster. Must be pumped to see him get to go anywhere, and then alone at Geelong as well.
Yeah, I got home and I was having dinner with my grandparents and I was watching it, and he had told me a bit about the clubs that were interested, but when his name was read out, I was more excited when he got drafted than when I got drafted. I was so happy for him. I was on the phone with him. It's funny, I called him and when I called him, his name hadn't been read out yet. So he answered the phone. I just started screaming, and he turned around to the TV, and it had just been announced, and he started crying.
Oh, okay.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I was so happy for him.
Because I remember when I spoke to him on the show last week, I think it was, he mentioned about giving you some stick. When you're getting drafted, he'd give you a bunch of phone calls, and now it's the complete opposite. And to have a good story like that makes it even more sweeter too.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
Now, obviously, when people mention about having the self-confidence about yourself, what do you say to people that try and, say the complete opposite, saying it's not a good thing, when it is a good thing to be confident about yourself? Because obviously clubs want to see someone that talks about themselves in a good way and perform real well for them.
Yeah, well, I guess it's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. And, I guess when people see some of my one-liners, it's easy to mistake it for arrogance. But, I think I've got a great balance of understanding that, I've got to get better. And there are people that are a lot better than me right now. But I'm going to, I'm backing myself to get to that level and learn a lot from the people at the club, especially at the Saints. So, yeah.
How was it like having the skipper, Jack Steele, present your jumper on the draft night, right on the stage?
Yeah, it was sick. Yeah, it was so cool. Another one of those moments where if I had to talk to him, I would have just been, at a loss for words. It was good, good thing I had the time to process what I was going to say to him and how I'm going to introduce myself. So, yeah.
It's nice to see some of the boys in here. Marcus Winhager, obviously a similar type of player in the midfield that can play forward as well. It's great to play alongside him, Mitch Owens, and some of the other boys I've seen and noticed you've met as well.
Yeah, I heard Marcus is a pretty good basketballer as well. So, Saints have that full-size basketball court. It'd be pretty cool. Get some pickup games going there with the boys. That'd be pretty fun. But, I've heard Marcus is a very hard trainer. So, I've heard all the young Saints boys like Mitch as well as they work really hard. So, yeah, it's good. I'm very excited to get there and get started.
Seen in one of the other videos as well, that good to see Max King. You've been at the same club as Max King?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember just walking off and said to my brother, far out, just met Max King. He's big boy. He's massive, man. He's hour above me, and I'm 190. So, yeah, that was a very cool moment, though. Jack Hayes as well, awesome to meet. All of the boys were excellent coming up and shaking my hand. And I know Dad loved it. He just thought the boys were excellent with me. So, yeah, couldn't be more grateful.
We'll answer a few comments and the questions here. Have you slept in that St Kilda shirt?
I did. I slept in my jumper that I got on draft night. I went home not home, went back to the hotel and slept in it. Yeah, I did.
Yeah. We're just seeing do you expect round one day? Well, obviously that's the aim, but how do you think you'll go about that to try and prove yourself that you do belong in the side? Because personally, I think you should be, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah, well, it's a great question. I think the way I'm going to go about it is just with how hard I work and be willing to learn, and that'll set, the rest of, expectation and the goals should take care of itself if I do those things.
Someone wants me to ask you, NBA team?
I don't have one. I'm just more of a general fan of it. Yeah. So more follow players in general, but yeah.
Outside of AFL, is there any, and basketball, is there any other sports that you enjoyed watching?
Yeah, the Olympics is awesome to watch. With the athletics background, I really enjoy watching the Olympics. Tennis is good. Outside of that, I'm not a big cricket man. I like the Big Bash though.
Okay. Yeah.
Swimming's not bad. I do a bit of swimming as well, but yeah, just all the general sports really. Yeah.
Someone asked you, Bradford, but I do remember is to Adelaide as well.
Nah, it's not anymore. Saints, man.
No, not no more, of course. Matthias, I really appreciate you coming on, and so pumped to see you go well at the Saints, and hopefully bigger, better things for you at the Saints, and hopefully finals are around the corner again.
No, thanks, Scoop. So I reckon they are as well. You know, optimistic, but
Yeah.
we'll have to see what happens.
Exactly. Thanks, Matthias. Appreciate you coming on. All the best.
No worries. Thanks, Scoops.